Piledriver by Status Quo, first released in 1972. It's the first album on the Vertigo label and also the first one to be produced by the band themselves. It's a huge step forward because of that, and the sound has definitely progressed since the Dog album. And before the record even touches the turntable, the cover art representing the live band at this point is striking. Some familiar words spring to mind here. Heads down, no nonsense boogie. The album begins with the Rossi Young composition Don't Waste My Time, a shuffle with a beautifully melodic solo, Parfitt's pounding rhythm over Coghlan's drums, and Lancaster's bass is infectious, and you can't help but bop your head to it. And it sounds pretty good live too, and I do recommend checking out the 1972 marquee version, where it's claimed in the recording that they play rock and roll as if they invented it. And the next track on the album is Oh Baby, and I believe it to be something of a hidden gem. The tense, slow build into the thumping rhythms of the verses, the harmonies, and the catchy middle section. It's a track that helps to establish the Quo formula, and I must say it sounded great when it was performed on the Frantic Four reunion tours in 2013 and 2014. And while we're talking about Quo, the live band, another favourite of the live set that debuted on this album was Big Fat Mama, which has been in and out of the set for many years, and with good reason. It's a roller coaster ride of riffs, topped off with Rick's energetic vocal, possibly some of the best of his career. And I'm sure it could have been a single, but it was nearly 6 minutes long. Although, saying that, it did work for Queen, didn't it? The main single from this album was Paper Plane, which was something of a simple statement of their new sound on a new label. It's loud, it's in your face, and to use the phrase again, no nonsense boogie. And I'm sure out of the speakers on the radio in 1972, it really stuck out. Now, if you've never heard this album and you're hearing me talk about it up to this point, you'd probably assume the album is somewhat a one-note affair. Believe me, it's not. What might slip under the radar sometimes is that some of Quo's most beautiful songs are featured here in this track listing. The mellow, bluesy fretwork on Unspoken Words, coupled with Rossi and Young's sentimental lyrics with Parfitt's vocals on this track buried amongst the instrumentation, are absolutely superb, as are the ones featured on All the Reasons. Another thoughtful composition, this time written by Lancaster and Parfitt. Now, no review of this album would be complete without mentioning A Year, possibly the most heartfelt song that Quo ever recorded. And if you're under the impression that Quo's songs sound the same, they only did shuffles, then listen to this track. The whole band come together here to deliver a recording that encapsulates that feeling of losing something that you loved. Lastly, this album cements a tradition that would stick for many albums to come. A long song to close it. Quo's version of Roadhouse Blues, originally by The Doors, is definitely a live favourite, especially when in the mid-70s they started doing the jig in the middle of it as well. But it still feels kind of early here, I think, because we know that they develop it even further. With Bob Young's harmonica, Rick's rhythm, and Alan Lancaster's piercing vocal, this track grooves along at a nice pace for nearly 8 minutes. So what is there left to say about this album? It's a varied album with legendary rocking recordings that helped to establish the Quo we know today, with beautiful ballads and some hidden gems in the mix. I've given you my thoughts on the album. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below.